Hey team, this is George. Can you believe that we're in week 3? Personally, I can't believe it. We have covered a lot of ground, and we're going to be looking this week at how an adolescent ticks. And I'm going to speak from this from a personal level this week for our introduction to the week because I just happen to have three young teenagers. Well, they're not young anymore, uh, but the adolescent and teenage years, I just absolutely love these years because there's so much going on and they're just really blooming and becoming their own person, which is separate from me, which is, I just find absolutely amazing just to see how they're growing. So I wanted to jump in and talk about that because we have some excellent videos and things this week. So really get into those, uh, listen to them, read them. There's just some fantastic, rich information there. But I want to talk about the comment that we're opening it up with right here. Know their time in life is a sensitivity to control is strong. So the number one rule of communicating with teenagers is use language that doesn't trigger their sensitivity to control. How do you do this with teenagers? There's a good explanation in the video here on how to do this, but in reality, let's talk from more of a family perspective. Yeah, having a God first sort of mentality attitude goes a long way in that because he helps we have to spend time in prayer with that because he helps us think from a perspective of okay, how can this conversation turn out well? How can we learn from this? Because you know what? I make mistakes as a parent pretty much daily. My children make mistakes. That's the way it goes. We're all human, so we have to give each other that space. And now that we know that people and young people in this age they want that control, that's normal. How do we speak into this? Well, the first thing that I do personally with mine is not give an initial reaction. I kind of just pause and absorb, especially when I have one of my sons. I have two boys and a girl, and they're all teenagers right now. um, they like, or he likes to, one of my sons likes to, what I call fire for effect. He likes to just put something out there to see what kind of effect it gives. So, and they're on some pretty intense topics because, life can be intense, and that's a beautiful thing that they're willing to talk with dad about that. So I do appreciate it. But if I react strongly in any way, and I don't mean overreact, just oh my goodness, what's going on? How if you give that strong reaction, it doesn't even have to be a negative reaction. So please don't perceive strong as negative. You can stop a conversation right in its tracks because the way the teen might be approaching it is they may be firing for effect, as I like to call it, just to see if he can or she can open up a conversation. And you know what? If you just sit back and just kind of absorb it and then possibly reflect back what the question is or what the statement is, and guess what? That dialogue is now open. And it can be on a number of topics because our kids, with social media and everything else, they see a lot of stuff. There's shootings in school, there's drugs, there was drugs. There's always been drugs, but it seems more prevalent. There are more pressures. Even the positive influences seem to be coming tighter. You have to get a 4 point whatever to get into college after high school. You have to do this. You have to do that. So they're feeling all kinds of pressure. So they want that control. So when a teen says something that seems outrageous or outlandish, don't just jump into that conversation. Pause and then reflect. And you know what? That can be hard to do sometimes because they know how to say things that directly uh, push a button, things like that, if you will. So just give time to pause and reflect. Be very purposeful. Think of, think from it biblically if you can actually do that in that moment of just pausing and then reflecting back, because that's what we need to do in order to open up that conversation. Because even though they want control, they need that conversation more than ever as a teen, because they're my sons and daughters go through pressures that I didn't have growing up. I had my own set of pressures, but they're going through things that weren't around when I was a teenager. and we have to be very cognizant of that. So this is just how I kind of wanted to start off the first part of week 4. This week we'll have a live session this week. If you would like to attend, they're never mandatory, but we will have one. I'll record it. If anybody wants to show up, ask questions, talk about whatever's happening in class. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you in the discussions.